The Clocktower Conundrum, a time-traveling adventure in the quaint town of Rivertown. There stood an old, mysterious clock tower that had not chimed in years. Some said it was broken, others believed it was cursed, but most agreed it was a relic from another time. The clock tower had always fascinated siblings Oliver and Sophie. Oliver, with his sandy brown hair and quick thinking, loved puzzles and inventions, while Sophie, with her bright smile and sharp curiosity, was always on the lookout for the next great adventure. One rainy afternoon, as the siblings wandered near the clock tower, something incredible happened. The ancient hands of the clock, which had been stuck at 12:30 for as long as anyone could remember, suddenly started moving backward. The clock began to tick in reverse, and with a loud clang, the door at the base of the tower swung open. Sophie's eyes widened. "Did you see that?" Oliver nodded, his heart racing with excitement. "I think the clock tower wants us to come inside." Without a moment's hesitation, the two siblings entered the clock tower. Inside, they found a grand, spiraling staircase that seemed to stretch upward forever, leading to the top of the tower. But as they took their first step, the ground beneath them rumbled, and a strange light began to glow from the gears and cogs that made up the inner workings of the tower. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the tower. "Welcome, travelers. You have unlocked the secrets of time, but be warned, time is a fragile thing. If you wish to solve the mystery of the clock tower, you must find the 3 time crystals hidden across different eras." Oliver and Sophie looked at each other, both nervous and excited. "Time crystals? Different eras?" Sophie asked. The voice continued. "The crystals control the flow of time in Rivertown. Without them, the clock will never strike again. You must journey to the past, present, and future to retrieve them. Only then will the clock tower's mystery be solved." Sophie grinned. "A time-traveling adventure? Let's do it." Era 1. The medieval castle. Their first stop was in the distant past, during the age of knights and castles. As they stepped through a glowing portal in the tower, Oliver and Sophie found themselves standing in the courtyard of a grand, stone castle. The smell of roasting meat and the sound of clanging armor filled the air. Knights practiced swordplay in the yard, while the royal banner flapped in the breeze. "We need to find the first time crystal," Oliver said, scanning the courtyard. "I bet it's hidden somewhere important." Sophie nodded, already moving toward the grand hall. As they entered, they saw a large throne made of gold, and sitting on it was a king with a long beard, holding a jeweled staff. "Welcome, strangers," the king said. "I know why you are here. The time crystal you seek is hidden in the dragon's keep, but beware, the dragon does not like visitors." "A dragon?" Sophie's eyes lit up. "That's amazing. We have to see it." The king smiled. "If you are brave enough to face the dragon, then perhaps you are worthy of the crystal." Armed with their courage, Oliver and Sophie set off for the Dragon's Keep, a towering stone structure outside the castle walls. As they entered the dark cave, they could feel the heat of the dragon's breath and hear the rumble of its deep growls. But to their surprise, the dragon wasn't fearsome at all. It was simply lonely. Sophie, using her kind heart, spoke to the dragon, offering it a piece of bread from her bag. The dragon sniffed the bread, then nuzzled Sophie's hand in thanks. In return, it revealed a glowing, blue crystal hidden in the back of the cave, the first time crystal. With the crystal in hand, the siblings stepped back through the portal, ready for their next challenge. Era 2. The present-day mystery. The portal brought them back to Rivertown, but this time, it was their present-day world. However, something was wrong. Everyone in the town was frozen in place. The streets were quiet, and the clock tower loomed overhead, its hands stuck in place once again. "We must be in some kind of time freeze," Oliver said, studying the surroundings. "The second time crystal must be causing this." They made their way to the town square, where they found a strange figure standing near the frozen fountain. It was a tall woman dressed in modern clothes but with a faint shimmer about her, like she didn't quite belong. "Who are you?" Sophie asked, approaching the woman. The woman smiled. "I am the timekeeper, guardian of the present. You seek the second crystal, but to claim it, You must first solve the riddle of time. She handed them a small clock, with the numbers jumbled and out of order. Oliver studied the clock, twisting and turning the hands. We need to set the time correctly to match the hour when the clock tower stopped. Sophie thought for a moment. 12:30. The clock tower's been stuck at 12:30 for years. Oliver nodded and carefully set the hands of the clock to 12:30. As soon as he did, the town square sprang back to life. People began moving, talking, and laughing as if nothing had ever been wrong. In the center of the fountain, the second time crystal appeared, glowing brightly. With the crystal in hand, they returned to the clock tower, ready for their final journey. Era 3. The future city. The last portal took them to a dazzling, futuristic city filled with towering skyscrapers, floating cars, and holographic signs. Robots zipped by, carrying packages, while people dressed in sleek, silver suits hurried along the streets. "This is incredible," Sophie said, marveling at the sight. But where's the last time crystal? As they explored the futuristic city, they found their way to a massive building called the Time Institute, where the brightest minds of the future studied the flow of time. Inside, they met a young scientist named Dr. Nova, who greeted them warmly. "I've been expecting you," Dr. Nova said, smiling. "The final time crystal is hidden within our chrono vault, but you'll need to pass the test of time to retrieve it." Dr. Nova led them to a chamber filled with shifting gears, spinning clocks, and a complex maze of moving platforms. "You must work together to navigate the maze and reach the crystal before time runs out." Oliver and Sophie, using their teamwork and quick thinking, leaped across platforms, dodged swinging pendulums, and solved intricate puzzles. At the very last second, they reached the center of the maze, where the final time crystal awaited. Solving the Clocktower mystery with all 3 time crystals in hand, Oliver and Sophie returned to the clock tower. The mysterious voice from before spoke again. "You have retrieved the crystals of time. Now, place them in their rightful places, and time will once again flow as it should." One by one, they placed the crystals into the clock's mechanisms. The gears began to turn, the hands of the clock moved forward, and with a loud chime, the clock tower finally rang again. The mystery of the clock tower was solved, and Rivertown was returned to its normal flow of time. But Oliver and Sophie knew that they had unlocked something far greater, the power to journey through time and solve the greatest mysteries of all. As they stood at the base of the tower, the voice whispered one last message. "Time is a gift. Use it wisely, young travelers, for your adventures have only just begun."